Hey there everybody, it's me Cody from OnMicrosoft.com, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the new calculator features in Windows 10 Insider Preview Build 19546 for Windows Insiders on the Fast Ring. For Windows users who have used the calculator in the past, you'll know that it's pretty jam-packed with cool features, such as a little minimized mode that lets the calculator be super tiny, as well as an expanded view which lets you see a full history of all the calculations that you've done in the past. The Windows calculator also has lots of other modes on this hamburger menu on the left for things such as currency conversion. I can see that 80 US dollars is equal to 61 Great British Pounds. I can do temperature conversion, Celsius to Fahrenheit, or any of these other things that you see listed on the left. In Windows 10 Insider Preview Build 19546, however, another new option has been added, and that is the graphing mode. Graphing mode is currently in preview, but it's something that Windows users have been asking for a very long time. We can see here that we have a basic graphing interface, including a little graph over to the left, an input panel to the right, as well as a list of equations and functions that we can enter over here. For instance, I can put in, let's say, log x, and it'll go ahead and graph that visually on the left. I can go ahead and hover over this function that I just put in, and I can see that there are several options that I can use, such as if I click on this little icon on the left, that'll temporarily hide that from the graph. I can go ahead and change the color of that line by clicking this icon in the middle. I can make it yellow. I can just delete it entirely with this minus, or view some extra options with this Analyze button right here. Another thing that I like to point out really quickly is that a lot of these buttons in this calculator app are starting to implement these new, nice, rounded corners that Microsoft seems to be using in a lot of their programs now. These buttons on the graph over here have some rounded corners, as well as these little ones, if I zoom in right here, you can see have little highlight and reveal effects with rounded edges, and I think it looks quite nice. But anyways, back to the actual feature set. If we actually do click on this Analyze Equation button, we can see some key features about this function that I input right here. This key features isn't supported for all equations at this point, but you'll find that it is pretty helpful for those that it does support. For instance, I can see things like the domain, range, x and y intercepts of this graph. For instance, let's look at this y-intercept. We can see that it's null. It doesn't ever pass the y-intercept because that's just how logarithms are. But if I modify this, let's say x plus 3, hit enter, and go back into that Analyze features again, we can see that the y-intercept is now available. Because of how I modified this equation. So yes, the graph key features does keep up to date with modifications you make to the equations in this menu. You can also see that we can add additional equations and graph multiple things at the same time. For instance, I can go ahead and input, if I can use this little shortcut here as well, sine of x, and we now have 2 graphs. I can also add a fourth one. Let's just do a flat line, and you can pretty much just do as many different things as you want, and they'll just keep appearing as new colors. But I'll go ahead and remove those for now so that we can stay focused on this. So if I go ahead and add a few variables to this, let's say a sine x plus b plus c, we'll see that some new options appear down below the list of functions. These are the variables. You can see A right here, B right here, C right here. By default, the graphing calculator renders them on the left as the variables equaling 1. But if I go ahead and use these sliders, I can go ahead and see how changing the different variables in this equation affect the graph. I can translate this left and right, up and down, or squish the graph, as you can see. The feature set currently is somewhat limited. Basically, you can only put in some basic functions at this point in time. There aren't things like plotting points, but the app is in preview, so if you are a Windows user who is interested in improving the experience of the graphing calculator in Windows 10, go ahead and try it out. See what you can do, see what you can't do, and log your feedback in the Windows Feedback Hub. Anyways, this has been a quick video with me, Cody, from OnMicrosoft.com. If this video was helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out OnMicrosoft.com for more info. Thank you, goodbye.